Hello, this is the way at Leonards Express, and I'm your host, Dwayne Knepper. Today, we're talking about fleet safety. Joining us to share their experience on this important topic are Katie Griffin, who's our Director of Fleet Safety with Leonards Express, and Ethan Miller. He's our Risk Control Manager out of our Farmington, New York terminal. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dwayne.
Uh, Also joining us is Leonards Express CEO Ken Johnson. Thank you for joining us.
Good to be here again, Dwayne. Thank you.
Katie, Leonards Express recently received the Trucking Association of New York's Grand Trophy for their Fleet Safety Award. Can you talk about the nomination process and why judges picked Leonards as the grand prize winner?
Sure. Thanks, Dwayne. The Trucking Association of New York Fleet Safety Award Grand Trophy is awarded to a fleet that has demonstrated a commitment to safe operation in New York State. In order to qualify for an award, the judging committee needs to determine that a fleet has an exemplary safety committee or safety record, and a proven culture of safety. Leonards Express was one of only 5 fleets selected from the Fleet Safety Awards applications to compete for the Grand Safety Award. Leonards Express was chosen as the grand prize winner due to our safety record, the proactive training that we provide to our employees, drivers, technicians alike, and our commitment to keeping our roads and drivers safe. Every quarter, our risk control managers at all of our locations hold a safety meeting, and we try to get as many drivers in as possible to be in person, and then we also allow online review of the safety meeting every quarter. Try to get as many people involved as possible, including our operations department, our driver advocates, terminal directors. Everyone here in Leonards is involved in safety.
Wow, Ethan, how about you? How, why do you think Leonards Express was chosen for this prize?
So I think Katie kind of touched on it a little bit. I think Leonard's does a great job of buy-in of safety from the top to the bottom. I mean, from the techs working on the trucks to the driver advocates, like as Katie was saying, all the way up through the Johnson family. Everybody feels exactly the same way. We've got to do everything in our power to make sure that driver gets home safely. Help him route the right way, help him or her find the right places to park, whatever it takes to make sure that driver's safe. And I think that really ends up coming through with our overall safety of all these drivers that they see we care, so they know that they have to put in that extra effort as well.
It does. Ken, what does winning this award mean to the Leonards Express?
Yeah, I think it's means that we're accomplishing our goals. Safety never rests. Every time we start another truck and send another driver out on the road, we start over again. But having that culture, having safety be first and foremost on everybody's mind, is important to Kevin, Kyle, and I. And when we want everybody, when they come to work to do their job and go home safely at the end of their shift, and winning the award means that against our fellow truckers in New York State, we were the best of the best this year, and I couldn't be prouder of it. And it's really testament to the hard work of everybody here at Leonards. When it comes to safety, I look forward to competing in other states, and safety isn't really a competition, but our results are, I guess. And everyone knows I'm a tad bit competitive, so winning, especially against a lot of these other companies, are my friends. I'm quite active in the Trucking Association, so it give us bragging rights a little bit. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is the safety, and this is just an opportunity to benchmark ourselves against the other truckers within New York State.
Yeah, for sure. Katie, you were interviewed recently by a writer from Trucker Magazine about a very interesting topic. Can you tell us about it?
Sure, I can. The title of the article was Tornado Alley. Safety experts leverage technology communications to avoid tragedies on the road. So tornado season is underway, and I have to admit that I learned a few things myself when preparing for this interview. So the season typically begins in March and lasts until July in the United States, because spring is a time of transition from the cold to temperatures, it creates unstable environments and promotes conditions for tornadic activity. So we talk about how drivers can survive twisters, especially if they find themselves in parts of the country where there's high risk of these weather patterns, like Tornado Alley, which includes Texas, Colorado, Oklahoma, Nebraska, and New Mexico. Tornadoes can come out of nowhere and they'll take you by surprise. And knowing the safety protocols is the best way to survive. So we try to communicate as best we can to provide those safety protocols to the drivers. And communication is key. We are always trying to stay ahead of the game and on top of the weather reports, and we get messages out to drivers. The DAs work with the drivers and where they're running to maybe reroute them somewhere else. Every member of Leonards Express is involved. Actually, the training begins right in orientation, and we have newsletters and, as I mentioned before, safety meetings, one-on-ones between the risk control managers and drivers, and also the driver advocates. Personal conversations with the drivers, sending information along the way, and sending warnings and instructions, again, to reroute the drivers and get them to the safest place possible. We have many resources that help us plan for scenarios and educate our drivers on what we expect them to do in inclement weather. But we're always there for them, open communication.
Yeah, that's true. Almost every member of Leonard's Express is involved in that communication. It could be easy to assume that the driver knows what to do, especially a driver that has many years of experience. Katie, can you?
Yeah, no doubt. Being in that situation may also cause you to forget anything that you might have learned on that, and we all need refreshers and reminders. Our most experienced drivers often tell me they've learned something new. There's always something new to learn. This is why we provide the ongoing training on a variety of safety protocols. Just knowing the difference between a tornado watch, which actually is that conditions are favorable for a tornado, or a warning, which means a tornado has been sighted or it's been seen on the radar. Just knowing that is just knowing the difference can help a driver avoid a catastrophic situation. So that's about it.
Absolutely. Obviously, Katie Griffin has given us that description. There's an expression that I've heard called Katie bar the door. Knowing that there's a tornado watch or a tornado warning, we know that watch out, something dangerous is coming. So if you ever look it up on Google, Katie bar the door, that's what it means. If you guys are anything like me, I was talking with the producer before. My involvement with tornadoes is the depiction from the classic timeless Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy and her little dog Toto gets caught up in tornadoes. But so Ethan, what are some of the most important safety tips for the tornado season?
As Katie mentioned before, I mean, being knowledgeable of the whole situation is probably step one. Big ones are the truck is not the safest place for you. I mean, even if you're loaded, that truck is not heavy enough to keep you grounded if there's a serious tornado. So finding a place to get to, a truck stop or one of our terminals, get to a safe room. If there's a basement, get to the basement. If there's not, definitely want to be inside, away from windows. Obviously, if you're out in the middle of a highway, that might not be possible. So kind of last resort is the truck or pulling into an underpass. It's not ideal. It's certainly, there's a lot better options out there, but
right.
but that's kind of number one is to get to a safe place that's a building, kind of that brick and mortar. Get inside, get either to the basement or get into an interior building or a room.
Absolutely, and certainly I don't think clicking your heels 3 times or even pumping your brakes will get you to no place like home. Certainly, speaking of home, no place like home. Leonards Express has a culture of driver safety. Can you describe that?
Yeah, well, and I'll share a story first about tornadoes. One of my more vivid memories growing up was a couple times a month, my family would travel to my grandparents' hometown in Orleans County, which is in Western New York. And my dad had a bunch of friends that he grew up with, and a few of them became truck drivers. And if they were home, we would go and visit with them. And I remember this one time going to visit one of his friends because he'd been injured in a tornado in a truck. And we went to visit him, and he happened to have his son. It was summertime. He happened to have his son with him, who was same age as me, which was 10, 11 at the time. And what I recall is my dad's friend being, severely injured. He'd been in the hospital for over a month. His son at the time was in, I don't even know if they still use these, but he was in a body cast, basically a cast from his knee to his neck, from all the broken bones that he had. And my dad's friend never worked again. He was permanently disabled. And it was because they rode out a tornado in the cab of their truck. And it was just a real tragic situation. Fortunately, his son healed eventually and, returned to the sports and everything that, he was doing. But his father and my dad's friend never was able to return to work. He'd do some part-time jobs and stuff. So really a tragic situation. What's interesting, Katie mentioned the Tornado Alley, and everybody thinks of that. And certainly those areas are impacted by tornadoes on a much more regular basis. This incident happened at a truck stop in Massachusetts, and not a place that you would commonly think of for a tornado. But I think it's a reminder that really anywhere, anytime, in certain times of the year that, it's a possibility, and you need to pay attention to your surroundings. Don't totally, listen to satellite radio, without the news. If at least, check the weather a couple times a day, watch the messages that we send out. I know that sometimes, those can be disruptive, but they're sent for a reason, and a lot of times it's for the safety. And we send them because, as you said, Dwayne, our priorities here, are safety of all our employees first. Obviously, certain parts of our company are more exposed to dangerous situations, and certainly our drivers are at the top of the list. They sit in traffic. They're driving on roads. They're out in weather, not just tornadoes, but all kinds of weather that may not make it easy, to do their job. And we want our drivers, as I said earlier, to return home, safe, sound, and go home to their families, and not have to worry about getting injured on the job. And we try to do everything to do that, and give them the tools to allow them to do that, and preparing them for tornadoes and even heavy downpours and thunder and lightning storms, and all of that can cause issues if you're not aware of your surroundings. And make sure you get to a safe spot when appropriate, because it's just it's important to us. Kevin, Kyle, and I certainly care for each and every one of our employees and want them all to be safe. And if they don't have the tools to do what's required to be safe, we want to know about it and make sure that they're given those. And certainly Katie and Ethan and the rest of the folks in risk control do a great job. But safety takes the entire company. Everybody involved needs to be a part of it. And weather safety is just one aspect of it, but it's a very important aspect of it.
Absolutely. Certainly, Leonards Express, as I experienced, personal safety has come first. So, well, that's pretty much it for driver safety segment. Katie Griffin, our director of fleet safety, Ethan Miller, our risk control manager out of our Farmington, New York terminal, and of course, Ken Johnson, our CEO of Leonards Express. Thanks again for being with us. That's all for this episode at Leading the Way at Leonards Express. And again, I'm your host, Dwayne Knepper. Drop us a line if you have any questions, comments, or topics that you'd like us to cover. You can send those comments to Leading the Way at Leonards Express. That's Leading the Way, all one word, @ Leonards Express. We'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you.
We're running 18